a night thrill ride. All right, so we do this. Let me just get to. That's what the tags look like. This is where I want to go. Are these fire escapes? Does your code cover? And I just want to make sure. Any existing fire escapes there. So anything that's external to a building that can be used as a fire escape, that you guys are going to get people off. So it could be, you know, would that include Romeo and Juliet balconies? Would that include back porches? That the staircase is in that porch. So wood or steel, right? So quick thoughts. These fire escapes? Yes or no? Fire escapes? Fire escapes? Fire escapes? Fire escapes on structures, tanks and stuff, these fire escapes? Those need to be inspected. Romeo and Juliet balconies, fire escapes? Hotels? You know how those hotels have those walkways exposed to the weather with stairs? Are those fire escapes? Hotels, fire escapes? Wood structures on the back of the building, fire escapes? Stairs off of the deck on the back, fire escape. Fire escape? Fire escapes? Spirals? Anything that your second means of egress out must be maintained. Fire escapes? If this is your second means out, is this a fire escape? Wood or steel? Catwalks, are they fire escapes? Catwalks. Steel, wood, or steel, or cement. They're all fall into the code. Machinery. So you may have situations where a non-traditional fire escape is used in order for you to get access there and fight the fire. So is it a fire escape? Bridges over buildings, you know, over streets that are not state-owned, public. Some schools and some hotels and some hospitals have catwalks and walkways. Are those fire escapes? Must be inspected. Ladders, bridges, ice collectors. What's the only thing wrong with this guy who attached the ladder to his fire escape? What's the only thing wrong with that?
Safety cage over 8 feet off.
Well, again, it was built in the 1900s. First thing you need is a balcony up there because you can't access a ladder the way that he has here. Number two, do you think he did this with or without a permit? This is a third-story apartment that was never a third-story apartment, so that's probably a legal or illegal apartment. But let's say it's legal. He got the permits, he got the thing, and it's a legal apartment, and he threw this ladder up. Is that ladder single action requiring special knowledge? Nope. You have to sort of lift it and release it, so that doesn't make. And is there a balcony up there to get you onto it? No. So he may be able to be grandfathered in, but the configuration is totally wrong. He needs a platform up here, and then the ladder needs to be somewhere where it drops either with weights, released, drops 2 to 3 feet per second, right? And do I have to load test this? It's a fire escape. Do I load test fire escapes? So am I supposed to load test it even if it's a ladder attached to the wall? Ladders, rails, fire escapes, everything gets load tested, right? Stairs, ladders, everything gets load tested. Spirals, simple. Okay? Today, I cannot build a spiral fire escape for you unless there's no mathematics. Otherwise, I have to build traditional stairs to the ground and everything. But every now and then, can I use a ladder and a stair and a spiral? The answer is yes. When you have exhausted every other possibility of either internalizing it or externalizing it, and I'm just sitting in a corner somewhere, and the only answer there, because of the property they own or whatever, the mathematics is against me. I can fit a spiral in there or a ladder in there. The answer is yes. With the approval of the building department and the fire department, we can throw a ladder in a case-by-case basis. Ladders and spirals are allowed. Otherwise, never allowed as a means of egress. Okay? So if I get pre-existing conditions and somebody's had this for 25 years, guess what? This is your means of egress. Doesn't need to be load tested. Yes. Wells, let's make sure we stay on top of wells. What's the only two ways to verify a well? Load test it, or X-ray, or reinforce it. Can I reinforce a welded connection. Doing what? Just bolt it. Keep my strong weld. As soon as I bolt it, have I satisfied you? That's what that code says, to its strength. I'm trying to avoid the load test. I said, dude, that whole spiral is welded. So what did you do? I put clips where it tied back into the 4-inch. I put a clip there that I bolted through. And then on the end with a post that was welded, I just put bolts through it. So I mechanically transformed it into a welded, reinforced spiral. Can I avoid the load test with you? If I've reinforced it, refurbished it and reinforced it with mechanical connections. Okay? They're all out there, guys. You're going to find tons of these. And the occasional slide. You don't find these anywhere in the country. And this is still legal because the code allowed slidescapes back when. This is the only 12-story fire escape in the nation that I'm aware of. Okay? All right, now let's take a look at the, oh, by the way, here's some old ones. They used to have a lot of these in military barracks and kids' schools. You don't think the kids would love that thing every day? All right, let me get a video for you. So if you go to Farscape Academy, there's 550 videos. I can send you a playlist. Will include a lot of the slides, and I'm going to play one here that is the one that has the city official from Lowell. And I do have some fire escapes from Manchester, Portsmouth, and I believe some Concord. This one was Newark, which is the freshest, probably about 2-3 weeks old. And Lowell is my walk around. I was out in Springfield, Illinois doing this class. Bear with me, since I played the class for Lowell, the commissioner will front and center. Figures, you know what I wanted? It's under my feet. Now that I'm looking for it, I can't seem to find the Lowell one. Bear with me. There's the Lowell one right here. And the building official is right below here. This one we just get him by himself, so that way. So like many of the classes, you can just go back and click in Lowell, click in Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey. And it's this one is it's got a 2-hour class on here, so you can play it on a smartphone, you can play it at home. Otherwise, we'll put this on CDs for you. And as it's loading, just, we'll start with that class.
The smoke, the flames, and the frightened faces.
You go down to the end here.
Up to this side over here, and if for some reason which they have to put in writing to you, they say, oh,
Bob Marsilia, let me turn this down a little bit.
This guy has more paint than us.
okay, so you can't get them on the paint maintenance issue, but now, let's get the gusset.
And you can see displaced masonry where that angle brace
Yeah,
goes in.
exactly, on the right side, it's blown out, the water's getting into
So
that
let's
one.
look right.
Let's look at this one.
All those angle
Be
brackets
careful.
down.
Yeah? Look at the gusset on this side.
Yeah.
Any rust in that connection in the gussets.
Yeah.
Look at the angle. Now, you talk about the railing. See the pickets? Those are just stress tested. But see the corners? Original or new hardware on those? Original. So if there was ever going to be a failure, it's going to be at this corner.
Somebody's
How
a
about
restaurant
that?
with a function hall on the
See some of
second floor.
blown out a little bit on the back? So it's these things. So on a typical repair that you want in your city, you want minimally, on this 50 to 75-year-old, you want all the treads rebolted, correct? You want minimally all these gussets rebolted. And what about going into the wall? Because I can't verify it. What's the only way you want me to verify the cement going into the wall on this 100-year-old building?
I think they have to replace it or do some
Well,
sort of test.
load test, right? I can load test without any destructive testing, or can I put a support? Can I put an epoxy bolt to the right of that, about 5 inches, epoxy bolt into the old masonry, and then leave sleeping dogs lying on this?
I think so.
Or can I run an angle on this about 10 foot of platform? I run a 3x3 or a 4x4 cross, and every 2 or every 3 feet I epoxy bolt 8 to 12 inches deep with a 3/4 epoxy bolt, and then I mechanically fasten myself back to every one of these C-channels. Do I now need to do any destructive testing to verify for you? Or have I duplicated the connection? So you're satisfied with that? So you would allow me to rebolt 100% of the
So when you
treads
speak
on the
with them and you're
platform,
talking
on
to
the cantilever, on the
This
stairs,
year's inspectors, we hear this 5 years from now, the same inspectors here would be ones
the
that say.
building, so,
A lot of times when we visit you, we'll do a walk around and do the exact same thing. I'll ask you questions
Paint
as
the
to
fire
what
escape,
you
this
want
would
in
be a
your city.
certified repair for you in the
And
city.
as you speak, you're basically letting the future guys that may take your
things,
job
I'll
over,
talk
or
about the
future
minor
inspectors,
bars, don't
know
have
what
to
you're
be
looking for in your
built
city.
because they're
There's
minor
a search online for,
Not
once you get to that stuff,
stress
they
test
will
that
get
they
online on the
The
Parks and
in-between
Rec.
rails, the top is a major, but the in-between just needs to be
Let me
good.
go with,
They don't
forward.
have to be rebolted if they're in good to excellent condition. And obviously, the other thing that's missing here, you need a release arm so that this thing does drop 2 to 3 feet per second. No obstructions down below. Correct?
Let's see if it goes into.
Doing the repairs, you can remove the. So that means you know that the wall is getting penetrated with water. Let's look at the grading. Is the grading showing any displacements on the spacers that keep the grading? How about the treads going up? You see rust between the angle clip and the flat bar on each side of the stringers.
Yes.
When you're looking at the clip that holds the entire staircase up above, does it look like it has original hardware or any repairs, any evidence of maintenance anywhere?
So that's another big piece, is the original hardware.
There used to be a cantilever here, I believe, that they took out because you can see all the cuts, and they put in this fold-out. And this fold-out ladder is an example of what you can put in some cases when the city allows it. When you lift that latch, and when that latch opens, this ladder actually opens to the right side, and it opens up into an 18-inch. And a lot of times you
Oh,
can
the
find out
fold-out.
whether it's in good condition or not if you can pull it
Instead
just
of
by.
drop down with
It looks
weights,
like it's
you have a
frozen, but
fold-out.
if you don't keep these things oiled and greased, they don't open up even when you release them. A lot of damage. You can even see.
So this is at-home training.
A lot of place.
So you want to get better and better at fire escapes, and we don't have time to
This
meet
is a
in your
very
city
obvious now.
and watch a bunch of these videos. You have the same fire escapes,
Fire
the
escapes
same alleyway
in
problems.
1978 have lead as a base. You think this fire escape has lead?
So we're going to talk
You
about
need to be
lead,
a licensed
the
renovator.
EPA
So anybody
requirement.
fixing this fire escape not only have to be a licensed renovator, must pull a permit to do any repair work on this, must have engineer oversight, and the engineer must make sure that there's a permit pulled. The engineer needs to do 3 to 5 visits on a fire escape of this magnitude. It's probably going to be 5 to 10 visits to verify every connection. And into the wall, what do you want them to do? You want them just to patch up at the veneer level, or do you want to verify or nullify these connections into this wall?
They all have to be, they can't be verified because they're all failed. You can see the
Right,
express
right. Lots of tiers everywhere. So on this one, would you recommend individual connections back with epoxy bolts, you know, the Hilti's 8 to 12 inches, or would you want unification, which is a piece of angle 3 by 3 going along the whole length underneath, and every 2 or 3 feet as per the engineer's order, epoxy bolt all of it, the angle. And
you have 2 places you can go search for video training. Farscape Academy, also write down Farscape Engineer. I'm gonna sign into my Farscape Engineer account. And this is where we put all our inspections that we do. So let me show you what you're going to have here. So we've gone one step up. You guys don't have any time. We've taken our inspection reports and we've put them on YouTube for the client to see, for you to see, for the vendor who wants to bid the job to see. So let's look at some of these typical inspection report. We have 440 videos up since we started this program. Okay, so let's go down here to an inspection that you're gonna. This is the white plane. We're doing this job now as we speak.
Head engineers inspect the summary. Head engineers inspect the summary video. We're here in White Plains. This is Farscape number 4 of 7. This Farscape has the same life safety issues as the other ones, mainly being that the fact that this is a truss that goes from wall to wall. That the railing is acting like a truss. That railing is tied into a 4-inch piece of flat, and that 4-inch piece of flat and the railing act as a truss is the end points of these supports going back into the wall, and they're only 8 to 12 inches deep into the wall, so they need the truss. All the bolts that are the tips on all floors going down are gone. The tips here are gone. The tie-ins, so everything. Then we got rust jacking and ice jacking happening at every single one of these angles up against the wall that is ripping and pushing the Farscape in or out or both. There's a lot of bowing going on. So unsupported structures. When you go down, there's no railing on the right side. There's a short rail on the left, so there's still a possibility of you falling 7 stories to your death. This whole railing down below, this is what every floor has to have, at least one of these railings protective, and we'll talk about that as we go down. A lot of severe rust jacking everywhere, every single one. So a lot of these supports are gone, and let's go, pieces of popping out. Steel, the corners are shot. We get a lot of severe corner deterioration. Again, all the bolts going out to the tips are relying on this railing to be a truss.
I'm sending this to you.
Flat, tied.
We're gonna load test this, or you want me to refurbish it?
Missing rails.
Well, minimally you want me to do this.
It's this one down below. Look at all the spacing and all the rust that's down below.
Will you allow me to load test it as is, watching this video?
So let's go down. 100% of all the treads need to be
This is
full
yeah,
scrap.
but this is the kind of information you get. Your structural engineers will not do videos. They may catch up and start doing video. This is a video summary review.
Area, blowing out all your bricks.
But this means nothing. Look at all the blown bricks. This means nothing if you don't have access to YouTube through your city won't let you access YouTube.
A 30-foot.
That sometimes happens. So I have to send you a CD of it.
Look at all that water.
So you can pop it into your thing. But this is helpful so you don't have to go visit a site. I'm supposed to give you photographs.
Side, the floor below is the worst. No rail
Okay.
protective.
Let me show you a life safety one.
Cracking, rust jacking, all that's full of rust. See the bulging? It's all severe. See the crack that they've been fixing years after year?
give you a life safety one. One that's falling apart. Bristol, Pennsylvania. And then we're going to open it up to questions. And that's pretty much the class. And then while we're watching this, Garrett, you want to get ready to record a final interview? So this is one of our typical inspections back to
Farscape engineers inspect the summary video. We're here in Bristol, Pennsylvania. What we have here is a Farscape that is in very bad disrepair. Emergency repair is required. In a state of collapse. I'm going to be very careful of what I'm going to be doing here. But this Farscape is in need of immediate emergency repairs. Okay? And I'm here next to this other Farscape, which doesn't look so good either, but the Farscape right next to it, huge rust spot, full white Farscape that doesn't look at in very good structural condition at all. Lots of it. Well, let's stick to the point here. This Farscape. First of all, it's 25 years to let a quarter inch of rust grow, quarter to half inch of rust. We've got that in excess over here, so that means that this Farscape has been growing in excess for at least 25 to 50 years. So now, let me go down slowly what needs to be done. I'm looking for any evidence of maintenance. No evidence of maintenance on this Farscape at all. No new hex head bolts, no new shiny bolts anywhere. So this Farscape has not seen a repair in its lifetime. The Farscape has all original square head bolts everywhere, riveted connections, square head bolts everywhere. Square head bolts. Every one of these square head bolts must be removed and replaced. Some of these components must be replaced because they're the rotted all the way through, but otherwise every major critical connection corner rails, corner here, tiebacks, tie downs, frames of the platforms, all those square head bolts, 100% of them need to be replaced with a new bolt. The supports going down, 100% of the supports and the bolts and the through bolts need to be verified with a new epoxy bolt into the building. Now, I'm about to walk down this Farscape, which these treads are showing rust in excess of 3/4 to 1 inch. That takes 25 to 50 years of neglect. This is 1.5 inches of rust on this stringer clip holding up this entire staircase. It is eaten all the way through. Yet the bolt is still here that if I move it around, if I have a quick hammer test, that would just pop. But that is 1.5 inches. That is over 50 years of growth. In 50 years of growth, 25 to 50 years. Look at all these treads. To grow this much rust, you need to have more than 25 years of unchecked rust growth here. 25. Every one of these treads, if I was to hammer test them today, would fall through. I'm being very
This is an active building.
In my walking of this Farscape. Now, 25 to 50 years to get this much rot on a clip. 25 to 50 years for the clip to go away. Look at all the rot there. That is 1.5 inch worth of rust. Okay, well, let it grow that big. You need 25 to 50 years. Every one of these connections, 100% of all these treads need to be rebolted. All the rust must be removed. This Farscape is older than 1978, so it's presumed to have lead. You must be a licensed renovator to touch this Farscape so that you know what to do with lead. There's people living in this building. I got obstructions. I got bricks. So I've got carts. I've got all these things must be removed from the Farscape. That through bolt is unverifiable. So I need an epoxy bolt below it or next to it and then tying.
I'm just going to show you this didn't have it, but I'm just going to show you one that has the, see if this one does have it at the end. I think it does. Let me just see. Got to move it to the end so that if it's playing the, yep. I just want to move forward so we can have a reasonable time and finish by 1 o'clock for you. I also show you the slideshow of all the photographs that came. Okay? With this, and again, this goes to the owner, to the building inspector, and also goes to the vendors who are bidding the job. And again, Farscape engineers are setting up the bid documents, the bid process. These photographs speak for themselves. Then towards the end, we start telling about all the requirements you want, such as the in statements at the end. I'll I'll keep moving it forward. And that's a 13.5-minute, 14-minute video. We start talking about the checklists, confidence tests, repair guidelines and procedures, any drawings that have to be done for the official to satisfy if we're replacing any of the pieces must be drawn. Talk about the EPA guidelines, load testing if required. Tagging, that we're going to tag the fire escapes upon completion. If you have any questions, call us back. So you're basically looking at where fire escapes have evolved. So Gary, if you want to come down and get ready, I'm going to open it up to you guys. I'm going to bring up my little tag over here. This book belongs to Bob, and let's just finish it up here. And let's just ask you some last-minute questions. If you have any questions for me, let's do it. But everybody knows exactly what the code is, right? 7.2.8.6.2. That's all your violations from now on ever. Whether it needs a paint job or whether it needs to be repaired, that's where you're going to go. Okay? So. And then just to recap, when you write a violation, you write 3 words, right? Repair, paint, test. Never any other words. Never write a scrape and paint violation ever. Okay? And just recapping, what you learned here, we're going to make a book out of this for you. And again, it's all going to be coming from the National Fire Escape Association, so it'll have more of an organization feel to it. But basically, what we've been doing in our training, we're going to give you, literature that you can use to help people make them aware that fire escapes do hurt people. They either save lives or take them. We're going to talk about credentials and that there is licensing out there. So the National Fire Escape Association will actually start the first national accreditation to get fire escape license to be an inspector. We're going to try to make it so that you can get certified through the National Fire Escape Association. You can also get your fire escape mechanics license and everything through there, so that if you're going to be specific to fire escapes, that's what we're doing. The tags, you like the tags? So 2 ways to get tags. You start putting tags out over the next how many years? 3 to 5, right? 1 to 5, 3 to 5. Because are we doing an inspection program or an awareness program? Awareness. It's going to take that long to catch up on 75 years of neglect, so don't rush, just start. We got tags coming. Confidence test. If you're in a hurry, go right to seattle.gov, go to the fire prevention, and under testing, they have not only my test, they have tests for sprinklers, all standardized tests out there, and it's my test that's there, and here it is. And the only thing I've added, so this exact test, the only thing I did to the test is I made it more for you. So I can make this test up for you, and I will take out these codes, and I will only add in this code there. That's the only one I'm going to add in there. So I will make it specific so that it's for New Hampshire, that it says NFPA in the little corners and in the top, and that all the code will be there. If it's related to paint, I'll have it from there. If it's related to structural, I'll have it from there. Thank God you only have 2 paragraphs to give me. We're good. We're golden. Otherwise, you can do it yourself. It's a Word document or a PDF document, and you can just modify the Seattle one to satisfy you. Repair guidelines. We'll give you documents that basically don't have anybody's information on it, and it'll say the city of, or the town of, or the state of New Hampshire follows these guidelines. And they're general. They'll never tell you what bolt, they'll never tell you what strength material, they'll never tell you. General. Always following back to industry standard guidelines. As documented in structural engineer books out there, and in repair books out there put out by industries in regards to any repair to anything. So we're not specific about anything, we basically put people back to what already exists in information out there. Load test criteria, inspection criteria, so you'll have it in the book, so that way when another engineer tells you, I'm going to inspect your fire escape, you say, great, tell me your inspection criteria. Otherwise, we're heading right to a load test, buddy. So we'll give you those, that